You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the January 24th, 2023 meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Okay, we're going to call the meeting of the LaPorte County Regional Sewer and Water District to order. Can we salute the flag, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are you okay if I move this?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Recording in progress.
No.
Letters and numbers.
Okay, first item on the agenda is the election of officers. Jennifer, do you want to take over?
Yes. We need to have a, let's see, how do we do this?
Excuse me, Mr. President. Did you do roll call yet?
No.
I think you probably need to take the roll before you do the election of officers.
Okay. Jennifer, can you do roll call?
Yep. John Carr,
Here.
Marcella Kunstick,
Here.
Jerry Jackson,
Here.
Mitch Bishop,
Here.
Delia Zegas,
Present on Zoom.
Mark Danielson,
Present.
Amanda Laners.
Present.
So we will do roll call for votes today. Okay, so we need to have a nomination for the president position.
I'll make a nomination for John Carr,
I'll second.
president.
John Carr willing to proceed to continue?
I will.
I'll second.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so Mitch made the motion, Marcella second. Okay,
And you
does,
always want to ask if there's any other nominations before you
other?
close the nominations.
okay, any other nominations? Okay, closed. Do I need to take a vote on this then?
You do.
Okay, John Carr,
Aye.
Marcella Kunstick,
Aye.
Jerry Jackson,
Aye.
Mitch Bishop,
Aye.
Delia Zingas,
Aye.
Mark Danielson,
Aye.
Amanda Laners.
Aye.
Okay, and then I think John can take it from here.
Absolutely. It's back to John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, guys.
John.
Okay, the next nomination would be for vice president. Are there any nominations for vice president?
I nominate Mitch Bishop.
I'll second that, as long as he's accepts.
Yeah, it's fine.
Any more nominations for vice president?
Who's second? You did?
Proceed to vote for vice president. Roll call.
John Carr,
Yes.
Marcella Kunstick,
Yes.
Jerry Jackson,
Aye.
Mitch Bishop,
Aye.
Delia Zegas,
Aye.
Mark Danielson,
Aye.
Amanda Laners.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Congratulations, Mitch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Aye, welcome.
Next office is secretary. Are there any nominations for secretary? That's currently Jerry Jackson.
Jerry, would you do it again?
I'd do it again.
I nominate Jerry Jackson for secretary.
Second.
Are there any more nominations for secretary? Proceed to vote. Jennifer, roll call.
John Carr,
Yes.
Marcella Kunstick,
Yes.
Jerry Jackson,
Aye.
Mitch Bishop,
Aye.
Delia Zegas,
Aye.
Mark Danielson,
Aye.
Amanda Laners.
Aye.
Okay, congratulations, Jerry.
Thank you, Jerry.
Next officer is treasurer, which is previously Marcella Kunstick. Are there any nominations for treasurer?
Yeah, I'll do it.
You're willing to, I nominate Marcel.
Second.
Nomination second for Marcella. Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Okay, nominations are closed. Proceed to vote. Jennifer, roll call.
John Carr,
Aye.
Marcella Kunstick,
Yes.
Jerry Jackson,
Aye.
Mitch Bishop,
Aye.
Dahlia Zegas,
Aye.
Mark Danielson,
Aye.
Amanda Laners.
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations, Marcella. Nominations for officers are complete and closed. Moving on to approval of financial and legal counsel. Currently, we have Barry is our legal counsel.
I make a motion that we retain Barry.
Second.
Are you okay with that, Barry?
Sure, thank you.
Okay, we got a nomination and a second for Barry. Are there any other nominations for legal counsel? Proceed to vote.
John Carr,
Yes.
Marcella Kunstick,
Yes.
Jerry,
Aye.
Mitch,
Aye.
Dahlia,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Amanda.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Congratulations, Barry.
Thank you all.
Moving on to approval of financial. Currently, we have Steve Carter. Are there any nominations for financial?
You okay with that, Steve?
Be our pleasure. Cronin Associates would be
Cronin.
the, yeah,
Sorry.
thank you.
I make the motion.
Aye, second.
We got a motion and a second for Crone and Associates. Are there any other nominations for financial consultant? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. Jennifer, roll call, please.
John,
Yes.
Marcella,
Yes.
Jerry,
Aye.
Mitch,
Aye.
Dahlia,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Amanda.
Aye.
Okay, so ayes have it. Crone and Associates. Moving on to approval of the minutes. We have minutes from, start with October 14th, September meeting.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from October 14th. Any questions on the motion? Proceed to vote. Jennifer, roll call, please.
John,
Yes.
Marcella,
Yes.
Jerry,
Aye.
Mitch,
Aye.
Dahlia,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Amanda.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Moving on to the minutes from October 25th.
I just want to make a correction on the agenda. It's the,
Mark.
make a correction on the agenda for January 24th throughout the script. In the bottom underneath the agenda, it says October 14th, I think. Can we change that to January 24th? All I want.
Aye.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Second, I get.
Okay, hold on. So we have a motion to correct date on agenda.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, ready for,
Yeah, are there any questions on the motion? Which date are you looking to correct them?
This one right here.
right up here.
Oh, okay.
I had it right in one spot, not in
All right.
another.
That's what happens when you use the same sheet and carry it over.
Get my glasses on.
Okay, no questions on the motion? Proceed to vote. Jennifer, roll call.
John,
Aye.
Marcella,
Yes.
Jerry,
Aye.
Mitch,
Aye.
Dahlia,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Amanda.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next, October 25th minutes. Should be in your pack. You had time to look at them.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We got a motion, and a second to approve the minutes from October 25th. Any questions on the motion? Proceed to vote. Jennifer, roll call.
John,
Yes.
Marcella,
Yes.
Jerry,
Aye.
Mitch,
Aye.
Dahlia,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Amanda.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Next item, November 22nd minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion, and a second to approve the November 22nd minutes. Any questions on the motion? Proceed to vote. Jennifer, roll call.
John,
Aye.
Marcella,
Yes.
Jerry, Mitch,
Aye.
Dahlia,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Amanda.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to G, public comments. Anybody wishing to make a public comment needs to state their name and address for the record, and we'll have 3 minutes to speak. Is there anybody here for public comment?
Good morning,
Good morning.
honorable board members. I want to thank you all for all you do for us. I understand what it's like to be in the public eye. My name is Glenn Nolte. I live at 5782 East, 800 North, Rolling Prairie. My wife and I live right off of Saugony Lake. I stand in favor of the sewer project that's coming up in Hudson Lake and Saugony Lake. I want the board to understand that I'm an advocate for clean lakes and streams. I am a retired business manager with the Plumbers and Steamfitters Union, Local 582. Early in my career, I worked at a water reclamation plant, so I have a little bit of a clue what's going on. Again, it's paramount of the safety for our citizens and children to have clean streams and water. So I want to thank you all for your hard work on what we're trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your comments.
Nolte. Thank you.
Like the actor?
You're fine.
He's a little crazy.
Okay, is there anybody else under public comment?
Yes, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is George Ballhorst. I live at 8622 East, 700 North, right near Hudson Lake. And I will not state my opinion because according to your agenda here, no facts have been brought out about anything. So how can anything be decided until we have some kind of information? So how can I say yes or no without any facts to represent anything? All I was given was people came out to my property and did a lookabout. That's nothing for me to have any kind of facts or figures or anything. Now, I am very familiar with the Hammond Sanitation Department and what they go through and how they operate. And sorry to say, I know this is nowhere near this, so I will just sit and listen and learn from you guys as to what you're projecting. I wish we could have the public comments after we could have some information on the report, which is item K. So again, I will just sit and listen and not give an opinion or bring up anything until afterwards. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
Anybody else under public comment? Anybody online, public comment? Okay, moving on to reports. First up is Steve Carter, Claims and Finance.
So we have year-end financials completed, and those have been reconciled to the banks, both Horizon Bank and Hoosier Fund with respect to the toll road. For Rolling Prairie checking at Horizon Bank, year-end balance was $28,065.40. And then on the following page, you'll see there's $16,941.64 in the O&M fund. It's $2,266.70 in the debt service reserve account, and $8,857.06 in the bond and interest account. And of that amount, most of that got paid out to the SRF at the beginning of January. which is the purpose of that fund. For the toll road service area, total funds at the end of the year were $409,247.47. Of that amount, $154,506.37 was at the Horizon checking account, which is your operation and maintenance fund, and the balance of $254,741.10 is in the improvement fund held at the Hoosier Fund. What these financials do not include is the new account that was created in December for the Hudson Saugony Lake service area. I need to figure out if anybody has received, I guess, bank statements, because I haven't seen them, and it's not on the online portal yet, so I think that's something I need to work to get set up. I thought they were supposed to add it automatically when I discussed it with them, but I haven't seen it.
The statements for the new accounts?
Yes.
Well, when we signed up, we changed the address because they were coming here, I believe. So I think we changed it to JPR's address.
I haven't received anything yet.
Okay, I'll give her a call because I'd like to have it on the online because I can just go in there and print it out and then I can see daily activity and all that. But I thought they were going to set that up, but it hasn't happened yet. So just so the board knows, I think that amount was $3,496,000. It was the $3,500,000 less the processing fee or the legal review, document review fee by the purchaser.
I'd be in there.
Plus any interest income that may have accrued, which I'm sure there was some through December 31st, but I don't know what that amount was. But before I do the annual reports, obviously I have to get that. So I'll get with you, John, once I've completed the annual report, and then you can review and submit.
And if you can verify the address where they're going to, Steve.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
Claims. We had some late revisions to claims. I think those were sent out late yesterday. So we have 2 months worth of claims totaling $256,879.43.
Yeah. Claims.
And a significant portion of that is related to the Hudson Saugony Lake project.
Do you need a motion to approve?
Yeah.
So move.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to approve the Steve Carter's Claims and Finance report. Are there any questions on that motion? Proceed to vote. Jennifer, roll call.
John?
Aye.
Marcella?
Yes.
Jerry?
Aye.
Mitch?
Aye.
Dahlia?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Moving on to Asbury Water Technologies.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just a few things other than that was not, or actually this was also included in the report that Tom Asbury sent out. But three of the old business, the roof leak has been repaired and it seems to be no issues there. The flow meter at the sewer plant has also been repaired and is in functioning order now.
Was that a electronic board or something?
Yeah, there's an electronic board that failed when it was being calibrated. So
That's a mag, right?
Yes.
Yeah, those are pretty tough. Okay.
And one other thing was that the well number 4 at the water plant, there was an issue with it and has been, Peerless Midwest came out and replaced it, and I collected samples to follow up.
Is that a submersible pump? I'm not sure what that.
Yes, it's a regular well pump in the ground.
Okay, the motor's down in the ground?
Yes.
Yep.
New business. Some things that have happened recently is the chlorination system at the water plant. There's some leaks, and I investigated it, tried to change several tubing parts, and it's not really fixing it. So we'll have to order some parts for the future. And also, additionally, the chlorine monitoring system. They have a chlorine monitoring system there, and it's not functioning properly. It's got to have some routine maintenance done on it. So I've contacted our manufacturer, Gas Voda, and they will probably attempt to do that routine maintenance. The last thing was that there was an after-hour service call. We had SCADA, the alarm systems called out. There was a failure with the air compressor, and we had one of our technicians come out and reset it. So, any questions?
How do those alarms, how do they work? How do you find out about them?
They send out texts and emails.
Your text,
Yeah.
okay, got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item I, JPR.
Billing collections, there's nothing new other than what I had in your report. We are filing liens today or tomorrow on properties that did not reply and have not paid. So those will be getting done, and I can let you know next month which ones. Other than that, we had about between 3 and 5 more reimbursements this month, which I already discussed with Steve. Other than that, that's it. Oh, we do need to discuss the
Extending it.
extending,
The $100.
What was the date?
Dollars.
I think
what?
the old date was in December, wasn't it?
Right.
Originally, it was the end of the year, but I do have more people that are contacting me and wanting to still connect and trying to find out if they can, and
How many?
I'm sending the forms. We're only maybe halfway through.
Sounds like a total of 55 out of 117 have requested reimbursement.
Okay, so we need a drop dead date, like,
Yeah.
we've already had one, but,
Well, I think if we do like maybe even April 1st, and then we can send out the letter, the 2 letters with that date in there, and that will be the last date for
final notice? Mm-hmm. What about May 1st? Gives them April.
whatever you want. It's
Is there-
however you want to do it. It's fine.
Is there a deadline with IFA?
No.
No,
No deadline.
Prior to the final draw.
Oh, okay.
We could,
which final draw can be whenever we
Right. Okay.
finalize all of this.
I'm just suggesting maybe May 1st and then send the letters out.
We need-
put it on the website,
Yep,
plaster it as many places as you can.
sure.
So
Yeah, see,
Is that
I make
a motion?
last
Make a
extension, big bold red.
I'll send you guys a copy of the letters once, because I plan on hopefully within the next 2 weeks getting that out to everybody that has not connected. Even in phase 1, I think we need to send a letter, even though they're not for the reimbursement.
Yeah.
They can still need to know, because I think we're having a lot of, well, as you can tell from my emails, we're having some people that are still not understanding everything.
So phase 1 still has,
People that haven't connected.
like, do we know how many roughly?
Oh,
You said 50.
I don't know. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can take a look into it. I think a lot of those are not, because they still think they didn't have to and are not understanding, even though we've sent out all the mailings, all the information.
How many homes was on phase 1?
I did an income survey for that a long time ago, and I'm going to say there's around 100.
That sounds about right.
You think we got
Maybe a little
50%?
under that.
Yeah, about 93
Yeah.
or something.
Do we have 50% at least, do you think?
Well, originally you had 40 that connected. So I don't know. I'd have to go back and look.
make a motion for May 1st.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to extend the reimbursement program to May 1st. Are there any questions on the motion? We'll proceed to
Okay.
vote. Jennifer?
So Mark was the motion, and who's second?
Jerry?
Okay. John?
Aye.
Marcella?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Mitch?
Aye.
Delia?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Amanda?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Motion carries.
And ultimately, I mean, what we're trying to do
is have the conversation at some point during the year about whether the board wants to take what is a pretty significant step and try and force connections, which statutorily you can do.
Or penalties, yeah, and that might be something we want to discuss in the letter. If Barry wants to review it and we want to.
I mean, again, is it something we're dying to do? No. It's obviously unpopular. It's expensive. But at a certain point, the purpose of the system was to have people connect who don't have statutory exemptions. If they have statutory exemptions and they show us they meet the criteria, so be it. But if they don't, and again, I understand we'd be doing that kind of in the midst of really getting more into Hudson and Saucony, so the board can discuss the timing as we get a little further along.
At what point would full rates kick in? When do we anticipate?
They're already full.
So everybody's getting billed regardless whether they're
Correct.
connected or not
The
connected.
district didn't charge an interim rate. So once they were able to connect, the full bill started immediately.
We need to, there was the address on Mechanic Street that escapes me, the gentleman who called and said that the sewer connection provided in phase one was at too high an elevation, so he couldn't connect. And then on phase two, we didn't give him a connection. So we need to decide, and I don't know if this is the place to.
Well, we wouldn't have
right
given
now,
a
but-
connection on phase two because he already had one on phase one.
Well, had I been aware of the situation and on my toes, I would have said yes, of course we'd put a connection because the first connection didn't serve him well. And we were going right by him with a gravity sewer. So in my opinion, we would have given him a connection because, well, if I were the homeowner, I would have sure been happy to have a connection that would work by gravity instead of having to build a pump station, especially when the district was putting a gravity sewer plenty deep enough right in front of his house.
Can we get a price for that?
Now it's kind of expensive because we got to cut the road.
I know.
Yeah, and it's a spring thing, not a annual thing.
Right.
So, I don't know. I think it's
I don't think he's the only property owner that's had to put in though a pump station. Is he? I mean,
no, but it would be a pump station that doesn't need to be. There's no need for a pump station there.
I just don't know if the funding would have approved it. They would not have approved it since there was already one there. Normally they wouldn't.
Well, if we'd have put a sewer tap in front of his house, it'd have been in the project and it got built.
Yeah, I think the problem is that this came up so long after the project was completed.
And that was
That's an issue.
Yeah, if it was brought up during construction, we would have taken a look at it.
Dan, could we not use remaining funds though to build that lateral for that property owner?
We don't have any accounted for it right now. Because right now, all the remaining funds are accounted for in the customer reimbursement program.
100% of the funds?
Yeah. That haven't already been expended on the mixed flush valves out at the lift station.
Would that be something, though, if in fact May 1st comes and goes, and there's $30,000 left in there, I mean, I guess I'm asking, would SRF or whoever look at that favorably to use it to actually get more connections?
Yeah.
One more connection.
Yes.
They'd look at it, yeah. And I was going to bring it up. If, we hit May 1st and we still have money in remaining funds, we can revisit that with SRF and issue another PER amendment to, if we want to say, Jerry, I knew you'd mentioned some things about wanting to tie gen sets into SCADA and whatnot. We could look at that again, or we could look at applying the remaining funds towards the soft costs on Hudson Saucony. They'd also allow that.
Okay. Should we tell the gentleman that we're looking to fund a lateral and we'll know in May?
Yeah,
Is that the way?
Is he being billed right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
And is he paying?
He had, but now he's kind of.
Oh, yes, he did.
Yeah, but now he's
He
kind
did
of
pay.
brought it to head and made it an issue. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just don't want the board to overpromise if in fact we get a huge swell of people asking for reimbursement and all of a sudden the money isn't there. But I think we probably, from an agenda standpoint, Jennifer, ought to kind of just continue to put this maybe under old business, just so it reminds us that it's out there. Otherwise, I just don't want it to fall off the agenda. Maybe just have it. I mean, I know, for example, February, March, and April meetings, we won't have resolution, but we will have an idea, I think, at that point, how many people are utilizing this extension for the reimbursement program.
This is our third extension?
Well, what if the district just paid for the pump? That's gonna be cheaper than trying to put in a whole new lateral. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there because
Option to
otherwise,
consider for sure.
right.
We gotta maintain that then?
I think that would be cheaper than trying to figure out and cutting up the road and everything else. If the property owner would be in agreement with something like that, that might be maybe another option.
I think
Well, we still have to dig up the road to connect to the sewer.
Not if we use the old lateral.
Not if we use the phase one connection.
Yeah.
Just had to
Understood. Okay, that makes sense.
to construct on his property though.
Right. Which I would assume he would be okay with, because it sounded like he wanted to connect
No.
in phase one
No,
and
we've
was
taken-
attempting.
We've taken ownership of the pump stations we've built so far. And that's a question we're gonna have for Hudson and Saugony. Are we gonna take ownership of all the grinders around? This would be a similar situation, a single house and a grinder. So there's another decision we should make there as a board, whether we take ownership of
Okay.
these.
Well, we'll keep this on the agenda and maybe we can continue to work with him and figure it out.
Yeah, a fully installed grinder station for a single home with, grinder, electrical,
Just do the granite.
control panels, probably around $15,000.
Okay.
What address was that?
Mechanic Street is all he said. Okay, what else, Dan?
Jennifer, did you have anything else on billing collections? Because otherwise I'm going to go into Rolling Prairie Phase 2.
All you.
Only thing I've got on Rolling Prairie Phase 2 in your board packets, you have a draft copy of the asset management plan that was developed as part of the Phase 2 project. It's been completed by both us and Steve Carter. The intention is for you guys to take this back over the next month, take a look at it with the tentative date of the February meeting for approval and acceptance of the asset management plan. SRF is requiring that we have these in place by April 1st. So that would give us some time to, if we had to make some revisions or edits or anything to get that through.
It's nice to have this in the onset. It does make kind of a weird thing that we have, when I see asset management plans, I see specific projects in years. And because everything's new, we don't exactly have that. We
Right.
have chunks of money that we think, oh, in this period, I don't know if you can do any better, but that was one thing that struck me.
Yeah, and this asset management plan includes all of the district's assets, not just Rolling Prairie Phase 2. So it's got Phase 1, it's got the Travel Plaza stuff, it's got everything in there.
Very, very nice.
That's
Yep.
great. Thank you.
And
Thank you, Steve.
we are going to be looking at updating this to include the Hudson Saugony project as well in advance of April 1st, because SRF is also requiring that moving forward.
Yep.
So, but they have to have an accepted plan in place by April 1st as well for the previous project. And that's all I've got on Phase 2 update, unless anybody else has anything else. Alrighty, Steve, you want me to just roll with Hudson Saugony? Alright, cool. Hudson Saugony project update, our ban closed back on December 2nd, 2022. Funds transferred to Hoosier Fund. I believe in the board packet there was an attached proposed timeline that hasn't really changed much since the last couple meetings. We just want to keep it in there to keep it in front of you guys so you can keep that kind of at the front of your mind.
It'd be nice if you'd call out some particular dates, when does construction start, when do we have those sort of things, just so.
I think that's in there.
Hey, you got the sheet, Jerry?
Yeah,
This one here.
I had it and
It was a single sheet.
I got it. Yeah, say it so it's on the.
Oh,
record and
sure, yeah, I'm gonna get there for the, when we get into the project updates
Perfect.
for Hudson Saugony.
Perfect.
I already touched on the asset management plan thing, so I won't go any farther with that. So I'll move forward now into design update, project update on Hudson Saugony Lakes. Just a general project schedule update here. We're looking at completing project design by August of 2023 and submitting permits at the same time. We would also be tentatively going out to bid at the same time as going out for permits, which would give us received bids in October of 2023 with proposed project closing in February of 2024. So the idea is construction on the project would start sometime in spring of 2024. We have proposed breaking the project into 5 contracts to allow for flexibility and for various contractors to bid the work. Those contracts are: Contract A would be Travel Plaza 3 wastewater treatment plant expansion. B would be the sanitary pump stations and mainline force mains from the 2 lakes to the treatment plant. Then we would have contracts C, D, and E be the individual pressure sewer collection systems for Hudson and Saugony Lake. Hudson Lake being large enough that it'd be broken up into 2 contracts. We're gonna touch base in a little bit on under engineering committee here later in the meeting on equipment pre-selection, but we're proposing that we begin assembling some equipment pre-selection packages for the next engineering committee meeting. These are packages that would allow us to go out for competitive quotes on specific pieces of equipment, so we could have that equipment selected and priced out in advance of bidding. So we would essentially be instructing our contractors what equipment they're putting in the project and at what price they'd be doing so. So we'd essentially be getting quotes from equipment vendors to help make that decision. The critical pieces of equipment we are proposing to pre-select are the packaged wastewater treatment plant equipment, the pump stations and controls, standby generators, odor control systems, and grinder stations themselves. Also at that engineering committee meeting, we prepared draft grinder station policy to present to the engineering committee. This is a policy involving where the grinder station is to be installed in the yard. And Steve, you have a little more on that, or you're muted. Steve, you're muted.
Turn your mic on, Steve.
Sorry about that. The design policies would also formalize the plan for whether the district will own the grinder stations or not. How we're going to provide electrical to it. Will that come from the grid or off of the homeowners? Whether we're going to share grinder pumps. We'll have some thoughts on that, and make sure you understand how it was budgeted in the PER, and then we'll work off of that. Even addressing how far do we want to put a grinder station on the property? Do we want to put it right at the road right-of-way line, make all the property owners come to that point, or do we take it back onto the property as far as we can to allow them to connect by gravity? Those are the types of topics that we want to get sorted out here very early on in our design process.
Thanks, Steve. Any questions about that? All right. So continuing on with project design updates on the wastewater treatment plant side of things. Currently working on calculating the proposed future wastewater flow and organic loadings so that we can get that ironed out and send it out to begin sizing of the wastewater plant expansion. In addition to that, in looking at the existing plant's outfall sewer, I conducted a site visit a couple weeks ago to the plant to try and locate the outfall. I was successful in finding the effluent sewer line through the woods, but not the outfall so much.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. Chris, I'll be getting with you after this meeting to have a chat about this, but if we don't have sufficient records on the actual outfall itself, we may need to request televising the effluent sewer to locate it. And as written here, we may need to request bush hog services or other excavation equipment to physically get in there to locate it.
It's interesting because the outfall appears to go to a pothole.
Yeah.
And if you look at our NPDS permit, it says it goes to a lake north side of the toll road.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a pipe underneath. There's some questions to be answered there for sure.
It looks like it runs right down to that pond. Like I can follow that sewer line in the woods.
Yeah.
And it looks like it would daylight right at that pond.
It does.
But I saw no moving water at all out there.
But when I was there was maybe mud. There was no
Yeah.
standing water. It was nearly, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll be getting with Chris about getting whatever info we can to figure out where that's at. And our production drafting of existing wastewater treatment plant facilities is complete. So now we'd be moving on to proposed facilities. For the collection system side of things, we are under development in drafting the hydraulic modeling of our proposed pressure sewer system and force mains. Preliminary plan and profile alignments and drawings have been set up for the Hudson-Saugony project, and the mainline force mains. Hudson Lake is still underway and will be worked on over the next few months or so. Hudson Lake survey data is under development, and that ought to be wrapped up here in the next few weeks. Moving forward, we'll be developing plan and profile sheets for all the individual pressure sewer connections. And additionally, we have utility coordination underway using Indiana 811 and looking at member utilities in the area, figuring out where their facilities and proposed facilities are going to be, so we're not stepping on any toes during the project. And as I mentioned previously, we'll begin assembling those equipment pre-selection packages in advance of the next engineering committee meeting. I think that, I don't know if this got moved to, yeah, it got moved to, it's on new business of our agenda, but I think I'd like to cover the next topic here under the Hudson-Saugony engineering updates, and that's the topic of the Whisper Isle subdivision.
Before you get off Saugony, I know people are gonna want, when will we know our funding situation for this project?
That's gonna be post bids, so you're probably looking.
We're not gonna go all the way to bids with not knowing anything. We're gonna have some estimates up front of what the monthly rate will be and all that sort of thing. I'm sure the people in the crowd wanna know. That's an important question.
Sure. That was reduced.
When they'll know.
Correct. That was reduced from your PR.
Because it formally happens, when in October.
Right, that's when the final rate is going to be established.
But somewhere well up front of there, we'll have an estimate, right?
Well, I mean, we already do, right, Steve?
Mm-hmm. I think, Jerry, that once they go through the project priority list again in July, we'll know pretty much everything we need to know at that point. Well, not everything because we don't have bids, but as far as the funding package, we're going to know shortly after that July announcement of the project priority list how much they are going to subsidize as opposed to loan.
Okay.
So July.
And probably more like August, but yes.
They rank the projects in July, but the last few years, we haven't had the funding commitments come through on projects till August, September, October, somewhere in that time frame.
Shoot.
That's tight.
Yeah, that's tight.
Yeah, I mean, and obviously it would be very difficult to go to bid without knowing from them what that funding mix is going to be, but those are discussions that have to be had with them. But I don't disagree with what Steve is saying at all. They've been, in the last few years, it's been difficult.
Project as well, and they usually make their announcements in October.
October.
Okay. And just to follow up, particularly for people in the public, if for some reason, I mean, they've given us all sorts of good news to this point in terms of the ranking of this project statewide, but if for some reason the grant portion was much less than anticipated, and all of a sudden the financing relied on true loan, I suspect that this board would be reevaluating the desire to move forward, because I'm getting into Steve's world, but it's just all about the numbers. If all of a sudden, I mean, again, we talk about the phase 2 in Rolling Prairie, 90% of that was subsidized by the state. If, for example, on this project, it was 20% subsidized, I suspect when you do the math, there'd be no way that this board would be able to do that project in a financially feasible way for the ratepayers. So
You're a fucking idiot.
I've been called worse in my profession, but it's directed towards me.
Who was that?
Since we recently closed on a large project, a little bit larger than this one, $51 million. I think the final grant ratio was about a third, 33% grant. That was a large wastewater collection system, no treatment plant. And the monthly user rates were in the mid $80 range on that project.
Thanks, that was helpful.
Mid-80s, right? I think $85 was targeted, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the PER, when we did the original analysis, we had somewhere in the neighborhood of, it was more than 50% grant, and I think we were targeting a $90 rate at that level of grant.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Steve.
Except the federal government doesn't shut down, and we're all
Well, hopefully they can give us more money.
Yeah, if they're not
They're throwing it around.
spending it. All right, so a couple of months back, we had discussed with the board looking at the potential to add in the Whisper Isle subdivision off of State Road 2 into the district's territory and serving them with a sewer system. So over the last month, I took a look into this. Yeah, you should have a figure and a couple of cost estimates in your board packets on this topic.
There it is.
So this subdivision is directly across State Road 2 from the sanitary force main that flows from Rolling Prairie to LaPorte. So the 6-inch force main is on the north side of State Road 2 in this case. And it was looked at building a small pressure network to serve this small subdivision and tying on to that 6-inch main. And as was discussed, we looked at two different alternatives. We looked at potentially just adding the first 3 homes with the ability to expand it in the future, and we looked at serving the entire subdivision. So that's what the two cost estimates you have are here. Alternative number 1 is a cost estimate and figure for just the connection of the first 3 homes. And alternative number 2 is the connection of the entire subdivision. Now, the way this was estimated was the same way that the Hudson-Saugony Lake was estimated. So this would be district owns the grinder stations. Grinder stations are placed up to 100 feet inside the property lines. Electrical is served by the district. Same criteria we used when estimating Hudson-Saugony. And what we came up with was alternative 1 came out to a total project cost of $164,000. And alternative 2 came out to a total project cost of $700,000. And when dividing that by the number of connections in each alternative, you're looking at about $55,000 per connection in each case, which is kind of on the high end of what we will usually see. But wanted to get your guys' thoughts on it and wanted to discuss potentially rolling this into the Hudson-Saugony project as opposed to doing this as a standalone.
Okay, and I asked Dan to prepare this. I actually live in this subdivision. I have septic issues. My home is the 3rd home in. That's why I suggested maybe just do the first 3 homes. But it was just something that Dan put together because there's potential for some issues down the road in that subdivision being on the water.
Well, are all the lots filled in that subdivision? There's
No.
a lot of vacant lots then?
There's vacant lots, yeah.
Are they currently for sale, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I should also note that alternative 2, if you were to tie the entire subdivision in, it would result in an adverse impact on the pump station at 350 East to the point where there'd be a significant upgrade to pumps and controls likely necessary at that station. It would when the pressure network there at Whisper Isle is operating, it would push that lift station down to running at about 50 gallons a minute, which ain't gonna cut it.
But you're talking about low pressure grinders, right?
Right.
So they're not all gonna run at once.
Correct. But making a conservative estimate of how many would be running at once would result in an adverse impact on that station. Because, there's a good likelihood that, in the mornings, you're gonna get a lot of flow from both that lift station and from Whisper Isle.
You're very near the outlet here.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, that was taken into account. It still has a pretty significant impact on it.
That's your highest line item, I see.
Yeah.
One other issue, it's not in the service area report. So the board may get pushback from the city of LaPorte or require annexation waivers.
Gotcha.
So that may be an issue.
Yeah.
Are we tabling this?
Yeah, we don't have to take anything on it. He just brought it for information for right now.
Okay.
So can we,
Move on.
we'll talk about it later.
Yep.
Right, and I think that's all I've got on Hudson Saugony.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
You guys have any other questions? Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. Next item is L, Executive Committee, which there was none. Then moving to M, Engineering Committee.
Do we just have a meeting?
We need to schedule a meeting. They'll work on that. I think we need to confirm everybody's still gonna be the same parties on the engineering committee.
And that was Jerry, Mitch,
Mitch and you, right?
me.
Mhm.
Okay.
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 Unless somebody else, is anybody else interested?
I can help out if needed be, because I will not be around in March.
Okay, Mark can be an alternate.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
You have some construction experience?
A little experience.
Next item is new business. Next meeting, February 28th. And Jennifer provided a list of meeting dates for this year. Is February good to go, Jennifer?
Yes, as far as I've been told, we are good, and we have our meeting room since we already had it scheduled.
Okay.
So I've noticed everything.
Okay. You got these approved then with the commissioners?
Huh?
You got all these dates approved with the commissioners then?
Supposedly, yes. It's all
Supposedly, yeah.
already on the
There, if you
book
need
and
to-
in this room, so we're good.
Okay. Right.
Not yet. I will. I'll have to get with all of them.
What do we have, the second page in it?
Oh, there's another
I'll do it
page.
within the next week or two.
Okay, next bullet point is pre-agenda meeting and attendees: John, Marcella, Steve, Barry, Steve, Randy, Jennifer. February 21st at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Good? So who from the board's on it? John, Marcella?
Just you and Marcella.
I may
Okay.
have a conflict that day if somebody wants to.
Do we need to have a third on there? Or?
You don't have to, but you should probably have an alternate if.
Yeah.
I'll do an alternate.
Okay. We already talked about Whisper Isle. Internal Control Policy, Executive Committee.
We need to schedule an executive committee meeting too, so I'll be working on that as well.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think that's Marcy,
Is the 28th.
That's
John,
and me.
and
Mitch?
is that Mitch?
I think
I don't remember. It's Mitch or Jerry, obviously. It's usually 3 of the 4 officers.
Yeah,
I think it was Mitch.
Yeah.
I was
Put me-
thinking.
Pretty certain it was Mitch.
Me too.
It's fine.
And under new business, Mr. President, before because it looks like we're about done, and I know we want to get out of here, but during the course of the month, there were some emails floating around, and I just wanted to follow up on a couple of them.
Okay.
One is the topic of payment of expenses prior to a board meeting in the instance where we really have to pay expenses. I think it somewhat came to a head for the payment of the insurance premium, if I recall. And so, in my mind, and I think some of the board members, there was this notion that a prior board, before my time and before any of our time, had approved something, but there was a $500 cap on it, or at least that was my mind. but I actually went through some old documents, some old files that I got when I first started, and found the actual ordinance that the Regional Sewer District Board at the time on the first day of May 2015 actually approved. I'm assuming they approved it. I don't have the board minutes, but it's signed and dated, so I'm assuming it's approved. And it basically mirrors the statute. Indiana has a statute. I found the statute first and thought, oh, how clever. And then found back that the board had already found the same statute 7 years ago. And so it basically mirrors the statute. There's a litany of things you can approve in the event that you need to, and then they have to get ratified by the board during the normal claims process at the next board meeting. There's the addition of one item, interestingly enough, that isn't in the statute, but this board approved, which is monthly charges charged by the city of LaPorte, authorized by the district's contract with the city. So that's obviously not in the state statute. But what I'll do is I'll scan this and circulate it to the board members so you guys have, so you do know that if we get into this bind again where we need a bill paid, there is an ordinance and a statute that allows for it. So that was the first one.
What was the dollar amount there?
There is no dollar amount, actually. I couldn't find a dollar amount either in the ordinance or the statute. So
It's really types of bills, like
it's the types of bills.
electric bill, gas bill.
Yeah, I mean, it talks about permit fees, insurance premiums, utility payments, grant payments, service contracts, leases, payroll. I mean, it's a pretty extensive list, so it does cover a lot of what we would pay on a normal recurring basis. So that was the one item I wanted to bring up. The other was if we could put on the agenda for the next meeting this resolution regarding the 300 project, the sanitary district. I mean, I know I've passed it around, but I worry about passing it when it's not on the agenda. So I know that they'd love to have us pass it, but I would prefer that we do it the right way, put it on February agenda. I took the template for this, basically, the agreement we did with Franciscan, where we basically said it's okay that you tap into the sanitary district and allow them to service even though you're in our district territory. So same thing for all the development that's going on at 421 and 300. So if we can just make sure that's on the agenda and we vote on it at the February meeting, that would be great.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay, now you get that, Jennifer?
Aaron,
Yep.
good stuff.
I don't recall if we finished the business with the guy up on 35 North who wanted to connect, and we weren't sure he was in his.
You know,
Did we finish that?
I know that, I mean, I got, for some reason, that copied that email and it came up, but I really thought that at the last meeting or in some email exchanges, and I think it was you, Jerry, so I want to give credit where credit's due, but pulled up the map.
Yeah.
When we approved the map regarding the Renaissance program and kind of turn over the Renaissance school territory to the City of Michigan City Sanitary District, I'm pretty certain this property is already in that service territory. So I don't know that we need to do a resolution. We already have a resolution that said anything within this territory is able to be served. I guess whoever he reached out to, if that's you, Jennifer, if he says, hey, I mean, we can.
We just need to tell him that you're already in.
He did, but he said that they told him to come to us and get permission.
So maybe you need to tell Michigan City, hey, the guy's
Right.
in your district.
And
Right.
they were a signatory to
They should know.
the agreement.
They should know.
So I guess if he follows up again with you, Jennifer, send him my way and I will refer him to their attorney. But this, I mean, I don't think we need another resolution when we already have a resolution.
Right.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yep. Okay, moving on to old business.
Just for clarification, Barry, you brought up the next meeting that we talk about old business, we want to bring up what you brought up a few minutes ago and talk about that in the old business, and I'm just trying to get that clear in my head, what that was.
The guy in Mechanic Street.
The guy in Mechanic Street.
The guy in
Mechanic Street.
Well,
No.
we talked about
No.
the resolution regarding 300 and 421.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Which would be probably then under new business now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
If that's, I think that's what you're referring to, Mark.
Yes, that right here.
That,
But we do want to keep the guy
Okay, anything else under old business?
too.
Make a motion to adjourn.
We got a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Motion second to adjourn. Any questions? Jennifer, roll call vote, please.
John,
Yes.
Marcella,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Mitch,
Aye.
Delia,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Amanda.
Aye. Jared, tell me about your project.
Ayes have it. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.